My name is Scott Ganz. I'm a conversation designer and writer at QuickBooks, working on the QuickBooks Assistant. And I want to talk about persona creation and why you need to drill into the dark side of your chatbot persona. We all know, hopefully, that when you build a conversational AI, that it needs a persona, it needs sort of a personality design so that the people working on it can get aligned, especially when it's a big crew answering a lot of questions. So I just want to give you a little roadmap for what we're going to talk about. That there's a better way to create your AI's persona, which is what I'm going to get into with the dark side, why it's better, and then a little bit on how to actually do it. And the best place to start is just a quick dip into my background, because I'm kind of a unique animal up here. I spent 10 years in the trenches as a Hollywood screenwriter. And that's where I learned about character and story and motivation and California's unemployment system, which I do not recommend any of you ever use. Just trust me, just starve instead. Then I got to my current role. I've spent 6 years in the conversation design space, where I worked at Toy Talk and Pullstring, Xandra, and now Intuit. So one of the things I stole from my time in LA, why is this not, there we go. One of the things I stole from my time in LA was the character Bible, or the show Bible. And this is a centralized source of truth on a creative effort, so that the whole crew knows what the character is, what the character isn't, what the rules are. And I started building that for the QuickBooks Assistant, using our brand identity and our mission and all that. And I was having a ball, and everything was going great. And then I met this guy. That's Scott Cook, the founder of Intuit. And Scott does something really cool. He brings in teams, little meetings, little intimate meetings, and he talks about what you're working on, and he offers his perspective. And it was during our coaching session that he said something that really stuck with me. I'm going to try to reproduce the quotation as best I can. He said, customer, 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 customer. I'm paraphrasing slightly, but I think that was generally the gist of it. So, as embarrassing as this is to admit, at the time, it kind of broke my mind. So I went back to my desk and I thought, I need to completely change my approach here. I'd been going by our brand identity and our mission and all of our attributes, and I realized after thinking this through that in terms of where you build your AI persona, where you get the actual things that make it who it is, it does not come from your brand, and it does not come from your company. It comes from this guy. And when I say this guy, I don't just mean your customer. I mean an angry customer, a scared customer, a frustrated customer. If you want to build a good AI persona, you do not start with the AI. You start with this person. And you have to build a lovingly intimate, borderline romantically obsessive profile of this person before you can even start on your bot. Now, you might be thinking at this point that your customers are a little too diverse to corral this way, that they come from different demographics and backgrounds and use cases and all that. And that's true. But, and this is going to make you groan, the thing they have in common is their emotional reality. And what I mean by that is, when they come to talk to your bot and talk to your brand, they are bringing certain aspects of their feelings, of themselves, their concerns, what they want, what they're afraid of. That's the thing that you can start to build towards. That's what these people have in common. And I want to show you an example, because it's a little heady, I admit it. But I want to show you an example of something we actually ran into at Intuit. So we show people a lot of facts and figures really, projections, totals, trends over time. And people ask, how did you calculate that? So here's what the brand and marketing person would say. They'd say, now's the time to show off what we're good at. We have a machine learning, and we have all these numbers, and we have all these industry trends, and we're doing such a great job. But then you have to realize the person who's asking that question doesn't feel that way. They feel that way because something looks wrong, something suspicious. They know their information better than you ever will. So when you represent it that way, you get that reaction. And in case you don't believe me, this stuff happens all the time. And I don't mean to shame you, PayPal. Anything I've worked on has made mistakes too. But you have to stop and think for a second. Yeah, there you go. We got a reader in the crowd. You got to stop and think. Like, they're going to come at you with all this dark stuff. You have got to be ready for that. You have got to know what the emotion is that's coming in, especially when someone's talking about their money. See, this is the problem we run into. Someone earlier said that the happy path is a lie. Thank you. Because we get so focused on what we want, on the goal, on success, what excites us, we miss the danger. We miss the conversations that we need to nail that will kill us. And if this is bumming you out right now, great. Because that's the first step to getting this right. Now, I want to stop here. Unlike the other quotation, this one's actually true. I want to stop and read this to you, especially because of the lighting design situation here. This is Leo Tolstoy from Anna Karenina. All happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Now think about that. You know, everybody's sort of weirdness, everybody's dysfunction, it's unique, and it's unique to your company. So when you think about, there we go, sorry. When you think about how your persona is going to react to a conversational situation, do you really need to spend all night thinking about what it's going to do when things go great, when your customer's happy, when the bot's happy? That's 5 minutes. Come on. What you really need to focus on are these people. The anger, the fear, the sadness of it. These are the things that are going to be unique to your brand. These are where your individual experience could fall down. So think about it in real life, right? Conversations like this, where everything's going great and everyone's happy, you kind of have to work to screw that up. When you go to this conversation, suddenly every word matters. Suddenly, you have to be at the top of your game or it will go bad on you in a heartbeat. So, how do we actually do it? And I'm going to stay with the theme of jokes that won't age well. Instead of thinking about what sparks joy, I want you to think about what sparks pain. I want you to really think about your customers here. What makes them angry? What are they afraid of? What will make them lose trust in the bot? What will make them lose trust in your brand? Don't think about what they want. Well, do think about what they want, but then get past that. Think about what they do when they don't get what they want. And then here's how you deal with it. So I like to use the metaphor of a tuning fork. You know, a tuning fork works like you whack it against something, but then it turns into this nice, sweet hum. That's what you should be thinking about. So you want to build a persona. We're getting back. This is how you actually build a persona. You want a persona that shares all of these negatives with them, but knows how to turn it into something better, knows how to deal with it. You know, if your customer's afraid of something, your bot's afraid of that too, but your bot knows how to get past that fear with your customer. If your customer gets angry, your bot understands why they're angry and what makes them angry, but then it knows how to redirect that energy back to something helpful. It knows which things make them a little annoyed and which things will make them throw their phone against the wall. It knows what they want and how they feel when they don't get it. So, to sum up how you're actually supposed to do this, you're going to fall in love with your customers' problems. You're going to fall in love with your customers at their absolute worst. That's the person you are building this thing for. You are going to figure out everything that causes them pain, everything that gets them into that state of mind. And then when it's time to actually help them out, resonate, do not exacerbate. And that's all I got. Thank you very much. So we have a little extra time. So I brought us in a little under. If you want to maybe take a question?
Yeah, we can do that.
What do you think about assigning an actual character to an AI persona, like naming it something or having it, have a personality versus just kind of a flat, here's how to deal with the problem kind of thing?
Well, given it's a biased answer from my background, I'm 100% for. But I'll tell you why. So to use another sort of clumsy metaphor, I believe in iceberg theory, which is whatever people see is sort of held stable by the larger amount of information that's beneath the waterline. And then the other thing I think about is between text and sort of synthetic voices, there's a lot of emotional ambiguity in conversation design. The thing you say comes off differently depending on someone's mental state. We tend to project our emotions into voids. So the more that the AI or voice assistant, whatever, what have you, has a point of view, can transmit sort of how it feels, it helps to sort of reduce that ambiguity and give people less room to sort of assume the worst, particularly, again, when they're in that negative state of mind. Because when they're happy, they'll project happiness, you're fine. When they're not, really plain language, really simple things can come off as almost hostile. Did I answer your question? Great.
Okay, great.
All right.
Thank you very much. That was fascinating.